Hey, chat. I hope that you guys can see me. I am trying to live stream here tonight. The tech is not working with me, but that's okay. Once in a while, we have disruptions in life and we get through them together. So glad you guys are here. Topic tonight: can therapy actually fix your relationship? And I come to you with this topic as a former marriage and family therapist myself. I was a marriage and family therapist for many years. I helped couples work on relationships. I helped families, and I saw a lot of very limiting patterns and a lot of destructive patterns as well for people. I am sad to say that family therapy or couples therapy is not always going to be the proper answer. And I say that sadly because I was a marriage and family therapist, but also I say it very realistically because marriage and family therapy is very new to the scene. What did we used to have? We used to have families that would work with you. You had mentors, you had elders, you had religious figures, you had many other people in your life that actually cared about you in a number of ways instead of a paid, dispassionate professional based on science that's 140 years old. So when Freud said, I want to set out to create an army of secular pastors or priests, that's really what he did. So, no, I'm going to tell you right up front, couples therapy is not only always the answer. Can it be helpful with properly trained therapists who are actually helping you? Yes, it can. Um, where is it disastrous? I'll be honest with you. Couples therapy is often, not always, but often disastrous when one person has an avoidant tendency, an avoidant attachment style. It is often a disaster to drag them into couples therapy because what happens? Well, if we take the default assumption that the woman is usually the more anxious person. Hi, Phoenix. Glad to see you in here. Welcome, welcome. Very happy to see you. And thank you for all those hearts, everybody. I appreciate that. Um, sound out while you're here. Say hi. I love saying hi to you guys. Archeon, good to see you too. Welcome in here. Phoenix and Archeon, two good people. Thank you. Um, in couples therapy, what happens? Well, one person comes in highly articulate, complaining about their problems, complaining like that's what we actually say in that field, complaining about their problems, bringing very articulate descriptions of their emotional challenges and how they're not getting met, how their needs are not being taken care of, how they're not feeling loved, and using all the right therapy emotional language. And the other person is usually not that. The other person is closed off, especially if they're avoidant. In a lot of couple settings, the woman is highly articulate about her problems, and the man already feels like he's on the defensive. So he's quiet and locked up like this, especially if he's avoidant. And so the therapist starts gravitating very strongly toward the woman because number one, she's usually paying for this and increasing their paycheck and keeps coming. But number two, because she's usually the one that booked in the session, she's usually the one who's articulating, she's usually the one who looks like the victim. Most women who goes to couple therapy, I'm convinced they don't actually want the other person to get the horse whipping, so to speak. They don't want you to sign up as a therapist and side with them against them because they don't want to wreck their relationship. They're not here to wreck the relationship. They're here to fix it. Now, will they articulate a lot of emotional challenges? Yes. Are they probably going to sound like they're the martyr? Maybe so, but couples therapy can make things so much worse, so much worse. Cleanza, good to see you. I feel like it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Speak Life, glad you're here. Braden Kelly, very glad you're here. Good evening to you. Pink, who's pink? Me? I am a little, I guess, in this light. I am a little pink. Um, good to see you. It's me. Glad you're here. CR, hi Adam. I'm avoidant in therapy. I was told that was rare. Yes, most people with avoidant attachment style are not aware that they can live a different way and start building emotional connection and intimacy. So they're not usually ones to seek out. Well, no, that's not true. They will go to therapy. Rare, yes. I mean, uncommon is a better way to put it. Usually, people with avoidant attachment style, though, are highly focused on self improvement, self development. So sometimes they'll try therapy to see if it's anything that'll work, but the language there is not usually appropriate for them. Good on you for putting in the work. 100%. 100%. Mina, rope. Glad you're here, you guys. Welcome in. Couples therapy, though, for avoidant people. They go in, they're already expecting a fight to the death. They usually get blamed and singled out as the bad one. They get put out as the person who's not acting appropriately. Their partner has a laundry list of articulated emotional complaints and challenges. And what is the avoidant person here? Things like you have to share everything. You have to promise open, unconditional love. You have to share everything with me. I am your therapist and you need to be open and you must comply or this won't work. And it's a very fast-paced, forced, coercive process, it feels like, to the avoidant person, doing all the things they are afraid is going to make things worse, and it's not happening at their pace. And now it really does feel like the therapist and the other person is unifying against them. This is why a lot of women actually don't like couples therapy when they have an avoidant man, because they'll get angry. Women come to me all the time and say, I am angry that my couples therapist sided against my husband. They did so much damage and now he will never go again. And I don't even, he's not a bad person. And they acted like he was. And this is not that all marriage and family therapists are bad. I was one for many years. I adore many of my very well versed, experienced, intelligent, thoughtful colleagues. But unfortunately, we are churning out therapists at such a massive rate to try to comply with the demand that they are not being trained adequately. Many of them are trained on the medical model instead of an actual systemic model. If you want to know more about that, let me know. But most of them also don't understand attachment in any way, shape, or form. So you guys on the internet know more about attachment than most therapists do, unfortunately. So you get someone with avoidant tendencies walking in your office, and you don't know what you're looking at. You start yelling at them about emotions and pushing them into sharing and openness, and then tell them they are the problem for doing the very behaviors that they feel like are keeping them safe. And now you have a recipe for disaster. This is why in coaching, just as an example, when couples come into me, I start working with them as from a business framework and say, look, if your relationship was a business, how would it be functioning? How is it not functioning? Let's be exact on this, be measurable. Emotional language is not going to get us anywhere. Let's be measurable. There will be time for romance later. First, let's set things up as a stable connection instead. Let's make it measurable, non emotional language, and then let's start comparing needs. I make sure that we do not take sides. Here's one thing I do differently that I wish more therapists did is people come in and I say, now, do both of you want this to work? I need verbal confirmation. And I look at one, yes. Look at the other one, yes. Okay, you've both given me verbal confirmation. Therefore, I will not be on either of your side. I will be on the side of the relationship. That's what's going to happen from now on. If anyone steps out of that and is harmful to the relationship, I will call you out on it and let you know, and I don't care who it is. My job is to protect and enrich and grow this relationship with you and for you. So now I'm on the side of the relationship. I take that stand, right? Same thing when my kids ask me, who's your favorite? The worst thing you could say is, I don't have favorites. Everybody knows everybody has favorites. Do you know what answer I give my kids? Same thing here. You are my favorite in this way. You are my favorite in this way. You are my favorite in this way. Every child is my favorite in a different way. Okay. And that's honestly, that's the better answer. Just like I'm on nobody's side. No, you damn well better be on somebody's side. Okay, I'm on the side of the relationship because that's the job you have hired me to do. And that's what you both have told me you actually want. These are practices that should be standard. Cleanza, it's good to see you and I hope your family's buzzing with happiness and memories. We are. We are. All 5 kids. Everything is going good over here. Matt Avi. Hi, Adam. Appreciate your efforts toward helping troubled relationships. Thank you. And thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad that it's helping. Thanks, Braden. Litigating it 7 months. Got it. Got it. Hi, Adam. How can I bring up my partner? He's avoidant and needs to see you ASAP. Honestly, don't talk about avoidance. You don't need to label somebody, and actually that's counterproductive because they don't want that. Nobody likes to be labeled, you are this and you're the problem and there's something wrong with you. And if you don't fix it, you're a bad person. No, that's what they hear. So, hey, there's a missed opportunity here. Avoidant people are very curious about opportunities. There's a missed opportunity here that I don't think that you're aware of, this thing called emotional connection and intimacy, but the bonding hormones and neurotransmitters that come with it, including higher testosterone levels, serotonin levels, and the ability to be at peace and be rested and calm. And if you want that, there's this process that we can improve on by building this connection together. I've got pieces I need to do. You've got some pieces you need to do. But if we agree on this and build this structure together, it can be amazing. The structure is called secure attachment. And it turns out that everybody has their own attachment style and that we grow up with survival adaptations, but sometimes they are not always helpful and they get in the way. And so we can improve those behaviors conditionally in a great relationship that's based on trust. And then we can grow that and have peace together. Is this something you'd love to join me in? Because I would love to share that with you. Notice never in there did I say you are avoidant. It's opportunity focused. It introduces the concept of attachment, and then it invites them into a learning experience. That's ultimately one of the better ways to do that. I saw a clip. The baby girl showed her nails. The baby boy held hand, inhaled gas, dropped her hand. Mission accomplished. She felt great. I hear you. I hear you, Clanza. The non-emotional language is helpful. 100%. Yeah, I included that in the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course for that reason, because we need to know how to be clear, measurable, and exact. Some would say transactional. I say negotiation, right? Negotiation driven in a calm, peaceful, sustainable, loving kind of way. We need to be able to do that and say, this is what I need you to invest, and this is what you'll receive in return. Adam, what do you suggest to fix a married long distance relationship? Long distance is very, very hard. I get that question a lot. It complicates things massively. I have a lot of people come to me in coaching. Hey, we haven't lived together in 5 years. How can I get them to bond with me? And they're avoidant and won't speak to me or answer my phone calls, and they haven't visited me in 3 years, right? It's like very, very, very hard. You probably need some professional assistance if the other person is even willing to do it. There's a lot of factors to consider, but it's one of the long distance relationships, you guys, is one of the hardest things. I get that questions. I get that question a lot, overwhelmingly. Long distance relationships are so massively complicated for that reason. I'm not down on them like they're bad. They are massively complicated. There is no proxy in the animal kingdom for long distance relationships. It's not natural. It is damaging. It is difficult. You can do it and make it work short term, but long term, you're not meant for it. Honestly, you're not meant for it. So again, that's not down on anybody who's doing it, and it's not saying it's hopeless, but it's very, very hard. Is this live session going to stick to couples therapy strictly? Do you have questions about individual therapy? Let me know. Mina, Adam, I can't join your channel from Canada. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what the US and Canada might be doing back and forth, to be honest with you. Right now, with the US and Canada not having secure attachment, I don't know what to expect from that. But you're here. Maybe you're using like a VPN or something. welcome, welcome, bootleg Canadian friend. Glad you're here. I don't know, to be honest with you. We get Canadian people in here all the time, so I don't know. After today, I have no idea. Serena, if an avoidant comes back after 3 months, they've slept with a few people, is it? No. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Serena, no. No. Hey, I broke up with you because the stress was too high. I went and slept around and banged a few people. Now I'm back to see if your stress is low and if I can just bang you a few times and get dopamine from you. Remember that avoidant people in that regard are just trading dopamine with you. They don't understand oxytocin bonding, and they're not even going to try to build that with you. They're really not. It's if you're stressed out, I leave. If I'm stressed out, I leave. I go get dopamine by banging other people, and eventually I come back to see if you're open for business. It's an endless dopamine binge all the time, and that's probably not what you're looking for, right? I would guess. How do you start to attract what you want rather than emotionally unavailable men? By having secure attachment and having securely attached friends, and then learning that that is normal. It must come through community. It must come through community. I can't become a member. Ooh, I don't know. I mean, you could shoot me an email. I don't know, to be honest with you, to become a member from Canada. I don't know. That's a good question. You can send me an email, support@adamlanesmith.com, and we can talk. My team will try to help you figure that out, but I don't know, to be honest with you. Anyone else here from Canada have a problem with that? Rope, I was wondering about things outside of therapy, but if it's more focused, I can understand that too. Uh, well, this is definitely a conversation about therapy. I don't know. What questions do you have? Today's topic is about therapy, but you can ask. Question: had ended a situationship a few months ago, no contact. Recent tried to talk to me. He's dating the person he wanted to be with when he was seeing me. Is that a question? Nadia, good to see you. Good evening, Adam. How you doing? Great, doing great over here. Why is he doing that? Jess, you need to go watch some of my videos. The biochemistry of avoidant attachment style, why avoidant people prefer situationships. You should check that out. That will answer it in about 25, 30 minutes. And it's an in-depth biochemical answer that you're going to need to learn. How do you have the conversation about them attending therapy? Why? Let me ask you first, what's your goal? What is your goal with therapy? Because therapy might be the worst possible thing to send them to. I'm just going to warn you about that. So, what is your hope that therapy will help them achieve? Dating, I think, based on your valuable advice, a quite disorganized woman I've known 40 years sent me a Valentine's Day selfie. She's been cold since. Grandma died in November. Pretty sure she's depressed. Okay. Do you have a question? Let me know. Help, been 2-year relationship. I've noticed abusive cycle repeat after betrayal in the beginning and started to realize this, but distance to protect myself. I feel bad for that 2 years. He's afraid of being abandoned. He says he's AP. Um, uh, you need to figure out what your long-term goals are. What are your long-term goals in life? If it's to mother a person who's abusive, you're collapsing into that relationship, and you need to understand why you're doing that. That's usually called codependent tendencies. I don't mean this to be mean or hurtful, but you're doing something usually called codependent behaviors, and you're collapsing into taking care of somebody else who's hurtful and abusive. That means usually that you're an enabler to someone, often with a personality disorder. So understand that. Um, I would go look at my video, 7 Signs You Have Anxious Attachment Style. I've also got a codependency video I recommend that you watch. But it sounds like you're falling into a trap of caretaking somebody who's hurtful. And Amber, I don't mean that abuse. I don't mean that judgmentally or unkindly. It sounds like you're falling into that pattern really bad. How do couples therapy go for someone who's anxious attachment? Usually they run in there and they start unpacking their concerns and frustrations because they have someone that cares. They start triangulating with the therapist really hard, not in a bad, like not meaningfully, but on purpose, but they do. And then the whole therapy starts revolving around the person with anxious attachment. And then the avoidant person starts feeling like you are giving in to a therapist, and now they can't trust you. And now it becomes a dangerous environment, is usually what that typically looks like. I took the assessment, landed highly disorganized, which I don't like to hear, but totally understand. I'm totally hoping I'm not screwed. No, you're not. You're not screwed, honestly. If you have highly disorganized, it's okay. The question is, where are you at with that cycle? Are you loud disorganized, where it's very chaotic and you're jumping from relationship to relationship and you can't settle down? Are you quiet disorganized, where it's all contained within and you look distant and aloof and uninterested to other people, but you're actually frozen and scared quite often? What is that? And then now that you're aware of it, what can you do? What leverage do you have? What good relationships do you have where you can start working on some of this and working through these behaviors? How can you maybe desensitize yourself to some of those fear triggers that you have, the fear spirals? Keep in mind that EMDR therapy specifically is often very helpful for disentangling disorganized style because it's a high level of trauma. So EMDR therapy is an 80 to 90% success rate with most individuals. That's one area you can go. I do have the attachment bootcamp course that you can take to resolve your attachment issues as well. Or I have coaching, or there's so many options for you to start getting started. But really, what it looks like is fixing the trauma response, being aware of it, fixing the trauma response, building friendships that can be spotters for you, so you can check in with them when you get a temptation to do something a little wild and chaotic and sabotage specifically, and then easing into more trusting relationships by being more open on purpose with people and working through those initial peaceful conflicts with people to build safe, steady relationships. And therein you become more secure and resolve the disorganized style. So yeah, you can. You absolutely can. Oh, yeah, I want him to heal from his trauma. There's a lot of ways to do that, but you can't force a person to do that. So it's not as simple as, how do I have a conversation that he should go to therapy? Does he know he has trauma? Does he recognize that that's happening? Does he know what a trauma response is? Is he willing to fix it? Does he believe in fixing it? Does he think this is the only way for him to live? Is he open to making improvements in his life? What are his long-term goals, and how can that fit into the equation here to persuade him to actually seek improvement? Is therapy the right approach for him? Or maybe that's not. Maybe he needs a coach instead. Maybe specific EMDR therapy for releasing those fear components and the trauma responses instead of talk therapy. For example, talk therapy is brutally terrible for most men. EMDR therapy is fantastic for the majority of men. So there's a lot of different things in there, Nadia, that you can talk about, but a lot of it depends on where he's at. Um, 5 years of marriage, 17 years being together. Okay. One kid together, never really had full trust or good foundation, which is why you were together 12 years before getting married. Yes. That happens a lot actually in this cycle. I don't want to keep at it. I have no desire for intimacy. Do I try to change? I just told him, Joe, I felt, and he's not trying to shut down, but I'm not giving him a reason to try either. Yeah. I mean, how old's your kid? because I mean, your kid might be a reason for you to try and make changes, not for the person, but for yourself. Honestly, build more secure attachment on your own with your child and with friends and maybe with your partner. Maybe you stay together and maybe you don't, but it sounds like there's some really severe attachment issues that need to be fixed. Your child is 21. Okay. Um, you're together 17 years, but you have a 21-year-old child together? Trying to math that out. Adam, can you please address how an avoidant partner can propose in long distance relationship? Why? No, I mean why? You're together 5 years and you're still long distance, and now you're trying to get a proposal. People who don't want to actually have a relationship have long distance relationships long term that are open ended. Um, I don't know that a proposal is probably the best option. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but generally speaking, the reason that somebody has a long-term relationship long distance is the avoidant person likes that they can shut it down. They like that they can turn it off with a switch of a button. They like that that distance is there, and it's very very hard to really make that change. So why go for a proposal? I'm curious on that. That's why I'm saying why. Like why go for a proposal on that? Because it sounds like there's some pretty significant problems that might be there instead. You know what I mean? I've taken other tests. I'm FA with AP leaning. I do like to caretake behaviors. I have caretaking, trying to learn to balance. Got it. Okay. Understood. So, topic of the night, couples therapy. Let me jump back into this. Couples therapy, you guys. It's a great way to ruin your relationship with an avoidant, to be honest with you. It's a great way to walk them into a hostile environment where they feel like guns are trained on them and they're going to get attacked. It is a great way to ruin a relationship with a very good, ethical, avoidant person. I'm not saying every session of couples therapy is going to ruin it, but I've seen so many places where the therapist misdiagnoses the avoidant partner who's closed off in the session because they're activated and nervous about being attacked, where the other partner is sharing, articulating their fears and concerns, and then gets upset that the therapist sides with them against the other person. I've seen so many circumstances where the person goes in and tries to get help, and the therapist pulls them aside and tries to do solo sessions and tries to convince them to leave their avoidant partner that they know is a good ethical person. Couples therapy quite often destroys the relationship, to be honest with you. It does a lot of damage, especially if one partner is avoidant. It is very much down to the independent therapist, and we are churning out not good therapists who are doing an overwhelming, ridiculous amount of damage. So think twice before you drag an avoidant partner to therapy because it's basically the worst place in the world for them. Now, what can you do instead? Solution focused problems or solution focused programs help. Some people run couples programs, they run couples retreats, they run skill training sessions for couples where they train you in skills. I'm running a retreat myself for individuals and couples. Couples work with a specific solution focused coach can be very helpful. You know, I run that as well. The reason that I left marriage and family therapy wasn't because I didn't think I could do good there, but the people came in so guarded and so focused on protecting themselves. It was very hard in a therapy setting to get an avoidant person to open up because they already walk in expecting to get chainsawed in half and they're expecting to have to fight for their life. So, yeah, it often doesn't go well for the avoidant partner. Braden, you talked about a good experience with couples therapy, but now here I am. What's the alternative? And that's a big piece is one partner can have a good experience, but the avoidant partner usually just hates it and rages against it. It's so emotionally focused, it doesn't hit the core of the problems. And again, most couples therapists don't understand avoidant attachment style anyway or how to fix it. So they just start trying to convince you guys to share feelings, share feelings, share feelings, and that's not the answer. That's really not the answer. It's not even the problem. So it's one of the worst things to do. So solution focused programs, again, whether it's mine or whoever's that you find that you like, solution focused programs that give you actual skills, that walk you through the benefits of an actual trusting intimate relationship, instead of just yelling at you that you should have it and it's the only thing, and if you don't do it you're bad. And actually building a program where you can explain the neuroscience of it and the chemicals and the hormones, and help them understand what they're missing, and then invite the avoidant person into the process, not by blaming them or labeling them or telling them you're the problem, but by really showing them what they're missing and helping them integrate in that way. It's very crucial that you help them do that. If you can build that with them, that's fantastic. Again, the rate of being able to do this on couples therapy is so hit or miss. It unfortunately it really is. So building into a program that's more proven, that's more specific and skill training, that works with an avoidant person's brain, much better results, much better outcomes. That's why I have a 99.8% success rate with my clients that way. Much, much better. I remember going into couples therapy and they said, give up. The majority of couples who walk in, it's already doomed anyway. One doesn't even want to be there. You're going to be the angel of death. Just get used to seeing relationships die. It is standard for our field. This is what they train marriage and family therapists into. Okay. Assume most of your couples will fail. I don't believe in that, to be honest with you. I don't believe in that. So maybe that's just me. Do you guys believe in that? Let me ask you guys. Let me pitch it to chat. Chat, do you think that a marriage therapist should assume that most couples are already doomed? Do you think that's a good approach? Yes or no? Share with me in chat. Do you think that's going to get you really good results as a person walking in? If you know that your therapist assumes the vast majority of you are doomed already and it's hopeless, and you walk in and they've got a glazed expression, a cup of coffee, and they're just sitting there like, I hate relationships, right? And did you know marriage and family therapists have the highest rate of divorce of all therapists? And so your therapist is likely to be even more likely to be divorced themselves and angry and bitter. And yeah, that they're not going to play that out in the therapy session at all. And they're just going to sit there angry, bitter, and believing that it's already doomed. So why even try? Anyone ever see that? Yeah, no. Yeah, there we go. See, it would be false advertising. No, I don't believe in it. People walk in with a reason. There you go. No, nope, that's terrible and lazy. You guys got it. If your therapist believes you're doomed within 1 second of meeting you, if you're shaking their hand and saying hi and they're already like, this isn't going to work, and they're angry and bitter and divorced in the corner, do you really think that this is a good system that's likely to breed much success for you? So there you go. Hope against hope and love beyond love. I got that, Cleanza. I hear that. Archeon, Adam, can having an anxious attachment cause you to romantically obsessed? Yes, because you hyperfixate on one human being at a time. You become oxytocin obsessed with them, and biochemically, you're designed to become obsessed with that person as a survival adaptation. It is documented. Dr. Sue Carter's work proves this. Yes, anxiously attached people hyperfixate on one person at a time, become obsessed, paranoid, jealous, and possessive, and then obsess over that person and can't stop. That is a problem with anxiously attached people. That's why they have to diversify and build secure relationships with multiple people, not just one at a time. I don't want that therapist with a doom attitude. Corey, right? Like, who does? Who wants to walk in and the person who's supposed to be helping you is like, nah, this is doomed. Imagine walking into a surgeon. You're like, I'm going to have a surgery. It's going to save my life. And they're like, yeah, you're probably already dead. Like, really? Do you really want that, where your surgeon has already given up on you before they've even started? Like, imagine you're like drifting off to sleep. They put the mask on you and you're like, wow, this guy's probably already dead. What's the point? You're like, oh, and then you fall asleep, like for the surgery. Like that's walking into couples therapy right now, you guys. I just want you to know that. Okay. So yeah, Amber, you're like, hell no, right? Like that's honestly the piece. So I am very, very cautious about recommending couples therapy to anybody. Solution focused programs, skill training programs, actually proven reputable retreats, and people who have an actual successful track record, especially working with avoidant people. Because the majority of couples who go to couples therapy have at least one avoidant person involved in the relationship. Odds are very good that one of you is avoidant, and that couples therapy is hell on earth for them, and that the therapist is almost certainly to walk in with a doomed attitude an angry divorce problem in their background and side with the anxious person, especially if it's a woman, against the avoidant person, especially if it's a man. Guys, this is, again, not every single time, but how much of a risk are you willing to take? Right? Russian roulette is 1 in 6, right? 1 in 6 chance of a bullet in the chamber. How much are you willing to take with couples therapy, right? If they tell you the vast majority of couples walking in are already doomed, so let's assume 60%. Let's assume 60%. If they have a higher divorce rate of anybody in the therapy industry, let's assume that's not great either. And let's assume those automatic tendencies that we know and have documented to side with a woman against the man, especially side with the person against the avoidant. Documented, proven. Like, anyway, they take it as being attacked right off the bat. Quite often. Quite often. And honestly, this is the problem, you guys. Couples therapy. Hey, let's go to couples therapy. Most people are not like, oh, that's a great idea. That sounds so fun. Most people are like, I'd rather die. Is there any alternative? Right? Yes, there's a lot of alternatives, it turns out. There are a lot of alternatives. Poke around, do some research, skill training, solution-focused programs, reputable programs, retreats, specific focused programs that help you achieve outcomes. Not, let's go talk about our feelings and blame each other and have a therapist provoke fights between us while they sit there angrily drinking their coffee and remembering their ex, right? And assuming that we're already doomed. Not good. All right. I am going to turn on members only chat here for a moment and get you guys in and answer your questions as well. You guys support me. I support you as well. I want to take care of you guys too. Members only. It's your turn right now. Archeon, would making more friends help anxious attachment? Yes. As long as they are securely attached relationships where you can be honest and open about your experiences and about your challenges and overcoming them. You don't have to give a sob story, but build that out. You've seen my book, Slaying Your Fear. In that book, I talk extensively about building that social network, having the I am an anxious person speech, how you have to do that with 2 to 3 people, diversify that oxytocin portfolio. As you start building that intimacy, all of that becomes better and better and resolves the anxious tendencies in the first place. It resolves them at their core. So yes, making those relationships is absolutely vital. And friendships are irreplaceable. You cannot only have a partner. Nobody in here, I don't care who you are, can have one partner only in your life, and that's all you need, and you'll be happy and safe and secure and healthy. That is not going to work. That is not medically, biochemically, neurologically how it works. That is just not. Documented, proven science demonstrates otherwise. So you got to have that. Any other members have questions here tonight? I would love to help. Anything you guys got going on, please let me know. Honestly, this is why I made the jump to coaching. Partly because of that frustration with the industry, partly because of the insurance thing, and partly because clinics push on you to maintain and keep people coming back on a subscription model so they can keep farming people for money. So fixing people fast and getting them back out the door, like it's good, but it's bad from a clinic perspective or from a shareholder perspective. So you get pressed on to try to continue things indefinitely in an artificial way. Do you have any good documentation on the effects of being a mother who's also an avoidant? Sorry, not therapy related. Braden, I do have some things here on this channel about avoidant mothers, about avoidant parents. I do have some of that here on this channel. I'd recommend checking that out. Documentation on avoidant mothers. There is a book. Adult children of emotionally immature parents. Adult children of emotionally immature parents. I would check that book out, Braden. It's not a bad one at all, actually. I would definitely check that one out. Arkin, I'll confess right now, I've had multiple instances where I became obsessed with a girl throughout my high school career as an adult. I don't want to continue that pattern. You need friends. You are starving biochemically and you're hyperfixating on one person at a time. You need deep friendships. You need that. It is not replaceable. That's what's happening. A lot of men think that one woman is going to solve all their problems. A lot of men do. It's not just you. A lot of men say, if I only had a girlfriend, everything would be better. And it won't. It won't. It will actually make you more anxious and more stressed out because you're constantly hypervigilant in that relationship. So, friends, before anything else, friendship, mandatory, absolutely mandatory for quality of life, must happen. All right, great questions, you guys. Any other members have any questions? I'm here to help. Let me know. You guys support me. I want to support you in return. Don't mourn the beard. I had to shave it for Facebook recognition, the to get access to my account again. So it's Facebook's problem and fault that I don't have a beard tonight. Gorgeous, luscious, long beard, you guys. So mourn the beard. That's okay if you need to a little bit, if you need to grieve, but that's okay. It'll come back, I promise. Secure attachment to the beard. That is what it is. All right. If there's no other questions, not a problem. I will be back. I am going to be back on Thursday. I'm also shifting my live streaming schedule after this week. It's going to be 11 a.m. US Central Time. A lot of people have told me they can't get to the 7 p.m. A lot of the European people overseas tell me they cannot get here for the 7 p.m. meetings for 7 p.m. US Central. So I'm going to be shifting to 11 a.m. US Central Times. The replays will still be here as well, so don't worry about that if you can't make those. But I want to make it as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. So we're going to give that a look and see that help. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Wonderful talking to you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Thursday, actually, Thursday afternoon.